Welcome back to D2 Wrenchworks and DIY, guys. Today's video is a kind of a different frame, something you don't see very often. I built a few of these and I'm really happy to make a video on this because this, I think, is going to be my best example on just how good is a felt F65. As you see here, we have a 7000 series frame, aluminum. This is good, high quality, keeps it nice and lightweight. The back of the frame has this very cool tubing. It's actually shaped carbon, it's not tubing, and it keeps the frame pretty light. The fork is probably the only thing that I don't think is that great on the bike, but overall, weighing this as it is, it just weighs over 2,000 grams. That's, for a budget frame, something that, you know, I think this is like a 2008, you know, you can pretty readily available, they're out there, and we're gonna see how good can this be with a slew. As you see, this big mess of parts here. I got a little bit of everything, and I'm going to talk to you about how to keep things on a budget. So the first thing I did want to talk about, I did get this bike complete, but I took some other, it was already built up with like other things and it didn't match well. So I have a full 9-speed Dura-Ace group. This is actually period correct to what it came with. It came with 9-speed Ultegra. So we're going to take that and upgrade it. But one thing I did keep is the original brakes. These are Tektro, I think they're RX 2.0 or something like that. I'll put it here in a picture. These things only weigh 300 grams, like 307 or something like that. That is insane for like a really not well-known brake to be that light. I'll put it into perspective here. These Ultegra 6600s, these are the 10-speed Ultegra brakes that go with those shifters and all of that in the group set. These weigh 330 grams. So, and these are, you know, 50, 60 bucks online used. One of my favorite go-to brakes are these 9-speed, these are 6500, a generation before, Ultegra brakes. These, you know, for the money, these only weigh 341 grams. They're just next to that Ultegra 10-speed one. But we're not going to use either one of these because, like I said, these are only 307 grams. They came on the bike, can't beat it. I did stick some new brake pads on there also. So measuring it against the 10-speed Ultegras, those also had brand new brake pads. Just to let you know, like, this is a super fair comparison. I would be very surprised to see these going for a lot on eBay. I've actually never seen these brakes before, and I was shocked at how, you know, good they were. So keep an eye out for these. For our derailleurs, just easy as it could be, the 9-speed rear derailleur, the Dura-Ace I use all the time. Slap that on there along with a 9-speed braze-on rear, front derailleur, and I have an adapter clamp for it that I'm going to be installing. Now for our crankset, what we got here, I don't know if you can see through that there, but this is a Shimano Octolink. This is like their first generation as the 9 speeds. Have the Holotech, and it's a pretty good system. You know, it's fairly lightweight compared to the square tapers. It's not as lightweight as the newer 10 speed, but on a budget, it doesn't matter when you have Dura-Ace cranks, because these cranks are actually super crazy lightweight. Got them for a pretty good deal on eBay. So we'll be slapping all that together for our crankshaft. As usual, we're going to go with our 9-speed gold chain from Amazon. And I have a Bontrager carbon fiber seat post, fairly lightweight, around like 220 or 30 grams. You can find these pretty cheap. These are usually like off of a Trek Madone or something. Now for wheels, what I had here is these RS11s. I'm actually rebuilding a Caribou for another video coming up with a really cheap setup just to see how good they are. And these look perfect. You have the ability, because these are 11 speeds. I am running the 9-speed cassette on there with an adapter. You have to, if you do run into this, you have to run a 1.8 millimeter adapter, and I'll show a picture, but there's like a big red one in there. It's a lot bigger than the standard one, so you actually have to get a specialized one if you're running 9-speed or 10-speed on 11-speed wheels. But these are nice. These are good. These came off of a Cannondale CAD 10. Good quality mid-range Shimano wheels. A little on the, you know, it's got a lot of spokes. They're not very race. They're a little on the heavy side, you know. I think they're 1900 grams, but this bike originally came with Alex wheels anyways, and this is leaps and bounds better than Alex wheels, and they're like new. Another favorite is the Selle Italia X1 saddle. You could find these on eBay fairly cheap. I think I paid like 20 bucks for this. They're pretty lightweight, nice and comfortable. Matches the bike great too. So one of my favorite things about this is I'm actually going to be losing a lot of weight by putting this fork on. This fork is actually off of my 2010 Le Mans Zurich. it's hard to see in here, but it actually does have, it's a carbon fork with a bonded aluminum and carbon steer. So it's not quite as heavy, but it does still have like a lot of the heft with the aluminum that's bonded onto the carbon right here. So it's still a big improvement, and it does match the bike. It looks cool. You know, get a little Le Mans swag on there. But something to look out for too, because, you know, like, I mean, usually, to tell you the truth, I kept this because they don't sell for a lot on eBay when people upgrade their bikes, you know. So this is off of Trek Madone as well, will be the same exact fork. A little bits and bobs, we've got some Shimano SPD pedals that I'm going to slap on there, just some starter clip-ins. We have some spacers for the fork. They go on the steerer there to mount our stem, nice and lightweight, carbon fiber. Right here I just have a basic aluminum stem off of Amazon, like 10 bucks, nothing special. And lastly, I have a pair, the grand finale, of 9-speed Dura-Ace shifters. These things are pretty sweet, super lightweight. The shift you get is just impeccable. You don't miss the gear. It just shifts perfect. I mean, these things are getting harder to find, so keep an eye out for them, because as 9-speed, they still perform better than, I think, 10-speed Ultegras, so keep an eye out. And for cabling, we'll be running some gray Dura-Ace and white sealed sunlight brake cables. These are shift cables, and that will complete the build. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and start putting it all together, and we'll see what it looks like at the end and see how it weighs. So we're back. How does it look? Pretty awesome if you ask me. First things first, our fork ended up being, this is a stock one, 590 grams. So this Le Mans one that I upgraded to, 430 grams. So we lost 160 grams. That brought our frame set alone down to 1,895 grams. I mean, for that weight, it's good. You can't complain. Comparable to, you know, a budget carbon fiber frame. And you still have a lot of room in the wheels. As I did mention, these wheels are like 1900 grams. If you went and got something, some of my favorites are like Mavic Open Pros with Ultegra hubs. Those are, like probably 150 used, 250 new, something like that. Those are around 1600 grams. 300 grams, that saves you like, I think it's a little over half of a pound. So that alone, the bike came out to 18.5 pounds as it is right now, no pedals. So that alone would bring you near the 17 pound territory just by swapping the wheels. Let me put this fork down. So also, one cool thing about this frame, everybody always wants to know tire clearance. We have, speaking of weight, this is a gigantic 28C, 700 by 28C Continental Gator Skin. These are super monster tires. They actually measure a little fatter than normal ones. And in the chainstays, there is probably at least a quarter of clearance on both sides. Clears 28C tires, no problem. One thing I did forget to mention, we have a very budget Ritchie handlebar set right here. Just plain aluminum, nothing super high end. Again, with this is just a cheap Chinese stem. And overall, the bike looks great. I'm going to be flashing beauties through here. Check out all of these pictures. Another thing that we did, we stuck with just the basics. Ram, I think it's a 950. I mean, it's meant to last, but it's not, Dura-Ace level technically. It's probably more like Tiagra, but on a budget. That's what I had. It's brand new, so for everything you start to add up, for you're sticking to a budget, you really can't say anything bad about it for 18.5 pounds. It's a great bike. The 9-speed Dura-Ace is awesome. Looks great. And we didn't have to spend a bunch of money buying Dura-Ace brakes. As I mentioned, we have these really nice lightweight brakes that came on it, these Tektros, and that's pretty much it. Please like and subscribe, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and don't forget, if I did help you out, check out my Patreon page.